All right. Test 8, Spanish 1. It's going to be 55 questions. Part 1 is questions 1 through 14, and it is conjugating verbs that have an irregular yo form. Now, it's not just the yo form that I've given you, so you have to know all of the forms of these verbs. Ofrecer, salir, conocer, poner, oír, conducir, traer, traducir. Oír is technically, we learned it with the irregular yo forms, but that's also irregular in the other forms as well, because remember it's oigo, and then oyes, oye, on and on and on. So it's irregular in the yo form, but it's also irregular in all the other forms. So you need to know all of the forms of these, but I just called this section the irregular yo form, because it says conjugate the following irregular yo verbs in the present tense based on the subject pronoun. So again, you are going to need to know how to conjugate it in all the parts. So tú, él, usted, nosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. But this category of verb is called the irregular yo form. Then we have 15 through 30. So part 2 is 15 to 30, and those are stem changing verbs, okay? So this is going to be like pedir, pensar, morir, dormir, preferir, servir, querer, yeah, okay. So these are the verbs that are going to be in this section. And once again, you have to know all the persons. So yo, tú, él, ella, usted, etc., etc. If I were you, I would open my test, and maybe the first thing I would do is I would go through and I would label all the verbs. Like if it's an E to I, E, or E to I, or O to U, E, so that you don't have to hold that information in your brain. Because remember that I am a huge proponent of taking notes and writing notes to yourself so that you don't have to keep too much information in your brain all at once. So there's 2 verb sections, but I split them up hoping that maybe it would help you keep them straight. So the first section was irregular yo, and you have to know all of the subject pronouns, not just the yo forms. And then part 2 is stem changing verbs. You have to know all of the conjugations. But yeah, so I just separated it, so maybe that would help you keep them straight on the test, rather than just throwing all of them away and having to remember like which ones are irregular yo forms and which ones are stem changers. Part 3 is change the following adjectives to adverbs. So that's 31 to 36. Remember that if you have an adjective that ends in an O, first you have to change the O to an A, and then you add mente. If you have an adjective an adjective that ends in E or a consonant, you just add mente. Oops. Okay, so like fácil becomes fácilmente. Interesante becomes interesantemente. And something like rápido becomes rápidamente. Okay, so no change, change O to an A, and then add mente. Okay, so that's going to be section 3, 31 to 36. Okay, then the 4th section is saber versus conocer. I want you guys to be sure that you really, really study this from your notes and from the textbook, because Like you guys, I'm struggling with this on your homework. This section is like the perfectly awkward sun time. This section is in English, okay? So all you have to do is you have to pick if knowing in each case is going to be saber or conocer. So write S if you'd use saber in the sentence and C if you'd use conocer. In English, they all are knowing something, but you have to decide if you were to translate the sentence, would you use saber or conocer? So remember, they both mean to know. Saber is facts or information like dates, times, things like that. And then conocer is familiarity, like cities, authors, books, movies, and knowing people. So if you had something like, he knows the book on the Wind. Okay? This would have to be conocer in this case, because you're not asking for specific information about it, like when it was written, who wrote it, where it was written. All you're asking is, are you familiar with the book? Or he is familiar, so I can replace knows with familiar with the book Gone with the Wind. So this has to be conocer. If you had something like, they know my dad. Okay. Knowing in this case is knowing a person, so that has to be saber or conocer as well. If you said something like, they know where my dad is, this is not talking about specifically knowing him. It's talking about a piece of information about him. So knowing where someone is would be saber. Okay, so it's going to be that kind of thing. Then section 5. Section 5 and 6 are vocabulary translation. So 5 is 46 to 50. And section 6 is 51 to 55. And this one is English to Spanish, and this one is Spanish to English. Okay? So it's vocabulary from chapter 8, same as always. I'm really sorry about the glare. No, really, okay, maybe that helps. Same as always. English to Spanish, Spanish to English. Be really careful about articles. If it says el or la, then you have to say the, that kind of thing. And then that's it. That's the test. I did not put any like official like translating sentences on it. And then there's 3 extra credit, just like always. Right? C if it's cierto and F if it's falso. So it's going to be. I think it's. I took from the thing about Mexico and like the history of Mexico, and but be sure that you read all the culture stuff in the textbook. So it's same as always. The extra credit questions are about the cultural reading. So that's it. Look, this test video is only 9 minutes and 24 seconds. That's pretty great. So y'all, good luck, and let me know if you have any questions.